Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Sir, your voice is not reaching to us. Please unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now perfect, sir.
Okay, great. I have sent you my presentation. So any one of you can scroll it from your side, and that would be great. Ishwani, did you get my presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a minute.
Okay.
Sir, have you sent us on email or on WhatsApp?
On WhatsApp. Actually, I have to log in from my mobile. So you are not able to listen to me from my desktop computer.
Yeah, no problem in that, sir.
Okay.
Sir, we haven't received the PPTs yet. Can you please send us once again?
Sure, why not? Give me a while. Can you hold for a while? Let me send it to you from my desktop again.
Yeah, for sure, sir.
Are we going live right now, or?
Yeah, we are already live, sir.
Okay. So let's begin. Let me send you my presentation to you, and we can go ahead later. You are Sumit, right?
Yes, sir. Here is Sumit, and here is my colleague, Miss Sweetie.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward for this presentation. Quite a long time with you people.
Yes, sir. Same here, sir. Same here. Basically, today Miss Sweetie will be the host for today's session. So she will take care of the. So I'm just the starting. I'm initiating this, but she will take care of other things now.
Great. I have sent a link in with the Ishwani. So can you roll out to the participants we have, so I can be able to get the feedback information of the participants, and
Yes,
I can transform my presentation according to the audience we have.
basically, it will be a live session. So the audience will be from Facebook Live and YouTube Live, sir. So there might be some delay of 5 to 10 seconds.
We can put the link in the description if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Sir.
This will give me give me a runtime idea about the participants. So that would be more great, and this time management factor will let us know that why we are lacking behind in our goal of lives. So the idea basically is to when I was drafting this presentation for my first time in my life, I encountered many people who have been facing the problem that we are not able to manage our time, and our life is very much disturbed. So
Exactly, this is something that will be related to everyone's life, because it isn't a separate topic for anyone, because we do have limited time. We do have 24 hours.
Absolutely.
And everybody have to manage that time accordingly.
accordingly. That's exactly the point of my presentation is. And this presentation is basically very vibrant to every participant who have joined us. And this part will not cover only your professional life, your education life, but as well as your personal life. So people who are married also get benefit from it.
So just a minute, sir. I'm making this screen.
Have you get the presentation?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I have sent the password as well.
It's not asking any password, sir.
Okay, that's fine.
Are you able to see the screen, sir?
I'm able to see the screen.
Okay, perfect.
Can our participant can see the screen? Anyone can confirm us?
Yes, sir. We'll share the YouTube link to you as well, so you can share at your end and your social media platform as well.
Great. Send it to my WhatsApp, and I'll send it to everybody.
Yes, sir. So meanwhile, I will initiate the process. So
Great, great. Go ahead.
yeah. So hello and welcome to all. Welcome to all the participants and welcome to Dr. Sabtain Khan for joining this session. Today we all are gathered here for the exclusive session, which is based on the topic work on time management in daily routine. And for this, we have our today's expert, Dr. Mohammad Sabtain Khan. He is a deputy registrar, motivational speaker, director idea for his private limited, currently holding a postgraduate degree in management science, backed with the computer sciences. He turned himself into a seasoned academic and executive management professional who has now contained a rich and professional experience of over 11 years in the public sector higher education. He remains motivational speaker for a couple of years and associated as a director idea for his private limited. So the topic will be covered as per the mentioned description. So do you have a time for yourself and the the content that will be covered as below, like delivery of work on time, better quality of work, more productivity and efficiency, much less procrastination, less stress and anxiety, improved quality of life, opportunities and career growth, and time for leisure and recreation. So this webinar will help you in understanding why the clock of successful people is faster than yours. So let's get started to this session. So everybody give the warm welcome to Dr. Sabtain Khan, sir. Please, sir, you can continue.
Thank you very much, Sumit, for a lovely introduction. As mentioned in that introduction, that we will be going to talk about how to manage overtime. But before we enter into the time management, let me give you my idea and vision about time, what exactly the time is and how we can manage it in a perfect and a very efficient way. Uh, the life, the past, and the future. These are the three things that everybody is looking forward in the life. The same time has been given to our parents and the grandparents we have. They have a limited time period of their life they have spent with us. And if you see, they have done a great job in their life. Our fathers, mothers, our जिनको आप बड़े वालदैन कहते हैं, so they have spent a life according to their requirements, their needs, and they develop themselves with the passage of time. So we are in the phase of developing and utilizing over time in a best way so that we can be a role model for our generation. by looking at successful people around us, we have a large number of people. You can say the definition for the success is different for the different people. It's a separate topic. I'm not going to barge into that. But they manage their time so to accommodate their future challenges, their career growth. They want to groom themselves. And it's a saying of a very it's a very, very known fact that if you want to make money or you want to grow up yourself, you need to be very, very much efficient according to your time. So while working on time management, let me introduce myself. I am working as a deputy registrar. It's a 9 to 5 shift. And I was also working as a motivational speaker. This is the part of the chain that I'm working on. This is one of the series that is called time management and allied services that we are working on. While going through the presentation, you will see there are multiple horizons which are very well connected to this time management and in our daily routine. Also, I'm working as a director in Idea Forest Private Limited. So these are the three horizons that I'm working on. I have given multiple interviews and participated in many live television channels. And before that, I was also working in a public sector university. If I tell you that I am 33 years old with 13 years of my higher education experience. So with 18 years of qualification in my hand. So this is all because that I have able to manage my time well. So let's get into the presentation. Next screen, please. These are the course objectives that what is time management? What are their benefits? What are the elements of time management? How are the principles that are involved in time management? How we can manage our time? This is the very, very important point where we are going to enter from that part of presentation. And urgent and important metrics. And I want everybody to not only to if you are able to manage your activities in this urgent and important metrics, then I can guarantee you that you will find a lot of time in your 24 hours. And then we'll go for a brief introduction about what is our biological clock and what is multitasking, and is it a benefit? Is it a beneficial for us to go into multitasking or not? Moving on to, before we enter into the course objectives, and let us take an example from our daily life. Since I have done my master's in project management, I will always like to give the example of a project manager who's having multiple kind of activities in his daily life. Let's take an example of our project manager whose name is Dave Gotham. And he's working in a Globus Incorporation, which is a leading software manufacturer industry. So next slide, please. So as I was saying that Dave Gotham is a project manager, and let's go into the detail of a typical work day that he has to go for in his mind, and he has to face how many challenges in his life, whether he's managing his time well or not. Let's take a look. Next slide, please. So Gotham is facing a problem with his sleep time. So usually he used to get late, and when he was not able to pick himself on time, and therefore you can see he's saying that, oh, I'm gonna late again for the office. Let's see what he has to do when he is entered into the office. So many emails to check. I don't have time left for the morning tea now. So when he has many letters, many communications that has been placed on his desk and many emails in his mailbox, he is not able to have a morning tea which can refresh him, while working in the office. So we can say the project manager's life is full of communication. While I was studying project management, I was being told that the communication is basically a lifeline for any project. A 90% time of a project manager is consumed while working on communication. He will be communicating with the stakeholders, he will be communicating with his team members, peers, taking the progress reports, many things that he has to do. So while working as a project manager, the project manager has to face with the many things. Let's take an example with the Maxwell project file that he's looking for in his messy desk. Where did I put my file for the Maxwell project? I have to search it on my desk because he has a mess created on his desk. So what's next he has to face with the in his daily routine? He has a presentation with a client. Next slide, please. So he will having a presentation with a client. And you all, if you are a professional, you must be aware of that the presentation to the client is very important, and one has to be very much get ready about what he has to speak in front of the client, because the client is the one who is investing in the about the cost, about the money that they are inserting in the organization. So therefore the client presentation is very crucial. So he is not able to get his presentation ready for the client. If I give you my example, I have when I was designing this presentation, so I have managed my time that I will be completing this presentation in 2 hours, because I have many other commitments as well, and you too have many other commitments. So therefore, we'll be sticking to exactly the point of where we are going to enter. So he has the presentation that he's going to miss. Next is he has to skip his lunch because his boss needs a status report, and while he is not able to get his status report, he has to work on the status report by that time, and he has to skip his lunch as well, which is affecting his health, by the way. While working on the status report, his wife called. Next slide. Where she's identifying that they have to they have a parent teachers meeting today for their child, so which he totally forgot while working on the status report. Next slide. Move on, please. Next slide, please. So while working on the status report, he is not able to complete the status report in time, and therefore he is not able to join his wedding anniversary party that has been organized by his wife in the evening. So I think I'll be late for my wedding anniversary party in the evening, as I don't able to leave the office on time. Next slide. As you see, the Dave is surrounded, next slide please, is surrounded by various kinds of troubles, which is including his health, his tasks, his kid, and the anniversary party, which is obviously a very important part of personal life. So he's not able to get a time for his these activities. So what do you think the root cause of all the Dave's problem? Next slide. It's definitely the time management. Next slide. Yes, all the Dave's problem arises due to proper lack of time management, because if he able to get up early in the morning and he knows exactly what he has tasked to do for today's event, he will be able to manage all the things on time while managing his personal, his professional, and able to attend the parents teacher meeting, which is very important, very crucial for his child. So if Dave had managed his time well, he would be able to pick back in a lot of chores into a single day and yet to complete each and every one of them successfully. So Let's see how days from poor management. These are the few factors on the next slide, which he has been not able to cope up. Number one, the reason that starting of the day is late arrival. He was to remain as a bed bug, or he was working late night in the last day, not able to get him on time, and his arrival on the office is very late. So when he arrived late, he has to drop his morning tea and working on the mails that he has available on his desk, on his email box. So the next problem he's facing is no desk management. The desk was absolutely messy, and he was not able to pull out his Maxwell project presentation, Maxwell project file, and therefore the client presentation is there. No time for his lunch because the boss was asking for a status report, and he's yet forget the parents teacher meeting, which is a very important factor for his child, and he also missed the university dinner. So let's go into the person details that what he has to do. You see that many person does not manage his time well, and he tends to not, he is suffering himself professionally, but his personal upfront is also disturbed. His wife is having a fight with him, definitely, because he's late for anniversary dinner. He was not able to get parents teacher meeting. This show irresponsible behavior at the school level or the college level for his child. And let's go and see next slide. Let's learn about the time management in detail. So if you are a, it's crucial that whether you are a student or a working professional or a homemaker working in a house, you should learn how to manage your time effectively. While working at the home, it is not necessary that you either work for the housework and nothing else. You have only kids to look after, nothing else. You have parents who have you have been working for them, nothing else. But these are the things that collectively requiring your time management. So it is already it's effective for professional, for students, for housewives to work on. So let's go and into the detail. What is exactly the time management is? Very important factor, very important for everybody to look into it. Next slide. What is time management? The first objective of our presentation. The time management is basically the art of organizing, arranging, scheduling, and budgeting the time. Basically, we are always looking on the one side of the of our life, that is the cost of the life, the finances of the life. We are always busy in budgeting that we have to give this money to that one and this money to that one. We are not focusing on the time, which is actually your money. The time management is money. You must be aware of the factor of the fact that time is money. So if you are investing your money, your time, it's one and the opposite thing to each other. So the art of arranging, organizing, scheduling, and budgeting one's time for the purpose of generating more effective work and productivity is known as time management. Whether you are working and you are saying that my efficiency is 100%, and that's not true. You can increase your productivity by more effectively working on your time management skills. If you are better arranging your time, you can get good scores in the while giving a online test or while working while sitting in the examination hall. I was working in a higher education institution. People used to come to me for their admission of their children. So one of the factor they used to ask about the entry test of the university or the college, how they can good secure the good grades in the good scores in the examination. I used to tell them that everybody has a skill or a dedicated, you can say something they are good on it. Some people are good in mathematics, some are in communications, some people are very good in analyzing. Their analytical skills are excellent. So while giving the examination for the university, I used to tell them that whatever the part you are good at, first attempt those parts. The reason that you give the those part a first try, that will give you not only bring the confidence in you, but also it will save your time. The time is very important, so that you can focus on the weak areas of your examination while performing, while sitting in an examination hall. So understanding the time and its importance is very important for the students. And if we talk about the professionals, while sitting in a useless meeting and debating about pointless agendas, one needs to understand that his time is very costly. The some people who are sitting in front of you must not have a busy schedule just like you have. You must have other commitments with your family. Someone maybe not having any problem with managing their personal life. So you need to more focus towards about your time. So that is one of the things that you need to go for. The first thing is the arrangement of your meeting, your priorities, and your working for the whole day. And then you need to organize these things, and how you schedule in your calendar, in your dates, that is known as time management. So the time management involves exercises, conscious control over of the amount of time you spend on the specific activities. Just like I give you an example of examination hall, while you are working on, if you are not good in mathematics and you are wasting your whole time just to attempt one question, that will ultimately give you a failure in your exam. No one is going to ask you why you are skipping that one question, question number 5 or question number 7, and you are attempting question number 99. It's totally up to you. You have to attempt those questions in any sequence. So therefore, while working on the examination, you need to maintain effective time management. So the time management helps any individual to be more organized and more productive in 24 hours. We'll see some examples of those people who are remain more productive as compared to me, as compared to you, as compared to the audience we have. So the next thing, why time management? Next slide, please. Look at these questions and try giving answers yes or no to yourself. And the thing, the important factor here is you need to be very truthful with yourself, because no one is going to ask you why do you feel to be more organized or more productive. That's totally up to your decision. You need to be more productive and you need to be more organized. Say yes. If you don't feel that you need not more any organization in your, and your productivity shall remain the same, no one is going to ask you why you have decided to do that. So remain truthful and answer these 5 questions. Do you feel and do you need to be more organized or remain productive? If the answer is yes, then you need time management. Do you spend daily your day by feeling that you're very busy, and by wondering that why you not have accomplished that much that you are actually looking for? So if you are wondering that your results are not that much productive, and your day is exclusively busy, and you are working on different horizons, and yet you don't have able to accomplish the important things that you have decided and you have planned for yourself. So if you are feeling that this question, the answer is yes, and then you need a time management. If the answer is no, then this third question will absolutely make you realize that you need time management, because someone will always try to wish for good and better and the best. So if you are desiring for to accomplish more tasks to be completed in 24 hours. The length of the day will not change, and you can remain more productive, and you wish that you complete more tasks in the once 24 hours. So you need a time management. Some of the people who used to talk to me feel stressed because they have a very busy schedule and they have no time for themselves to look after yourself. Some of the people used to say that we are not able to go to the gym, and we are not able to find time for our workout. So they need, actually, where they're lacking is the time management. Basically, the time management is the main plug that we are not turning it off and on. So this fourth question, if one of the answer is yes, then you need time management. And the last is, you nearly accomplish 100% production capability, because everyone in the world has been assigned with some task and some assignment that you are performing. If you are working in the labor class, you're working as a manager, you're working as a professional, you're working as a teacher, you're working as a student, working as a household person, you need to remain productive. And if you think that you are not able to achieve 100% of your productivity, then you need a time management. These are the 5 reasons that you need to consider before you think that whether you need time management or not. Let's go to the next slide and see why we need time management. If you have answered yes to any of your earlier questions that I have mentioned in the previous slide, then your dilemma lies in the time management. Time management is a very effective tool that everyone can pack up more in 24 hours to achieve more in the same time that everyone is achieving. If I ask you that consider yourself working with a colleague that who have getting his promotion, getting the skills, his work completed on time, he must be very good in managing his time or her time. That's why you are lacking behind, and he has been able to do more things. So time management is very effective for the work, study activities related, and for the personal activities. Just like as I mentioned that you are not able to find time to go to the gym and for your workout, or you have just like we have earlier seen in the example that Dave is not able to reach for the anniversary dinner on time. So you need to be very much effective in your time. So if I talk about what exactly the time is actually a period, is a point or a period that will simply put that where the things actually are happening. The time and the stuff when they are actually happening is actually the time that we are looking for. We can say there are 2 types of the times. One is called clock time and one is called the real time. And let me give you an idea about it. What is actually the clock time and what is the real time? If I consider you in the clock time, there are 60 seconds in every minute, and 60 minutes in 1 hour, and therefore 24 hours in one day, and 365 days in a year. So this is exactly the clock time. All the time passes equally for everybody, whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's someone else. Everyone has the same time clock. For example, when someone turns to 60, he is exactly the 60 years old, not more, not less. So this is the clock time. But what is the real time? The real time is the psychological time that you are understanding, and that what you are looking. For example, as Einstein used to say, that time is relative. All the time, relatives in the real time. Let's say we can say that depending on what you are doing, you will feel that your time flies or time drags. If you are waiting for an appointment, the 20 minutes will feel you like 2 years. And while watching a movie, you can see that 2 hours become flies in just like in 15 minutes, not more than that. So this is the difference between the real time and the clock time. So the time management is basically the management of this, your clock, the real clock and your clock. So that's how we manage our time. Let's move to the importance of time management. What is importance of time management and why, how it helps to manage you effectively. And it is, since it is very much beneficial for everybody, so while looking at this slide, one should be very much focused on what are the these rings actually are. To first of all, while working on time, you need to plan them effectively, and you need to be very much efficient according to the plan that you have designed. While designing your plan, your schedule should be efficient, and it should be very flexible, that if someone's barge in or some assignment comes into your schedule, you can manage them easily. So organizing your time, these all rings are linked with each other. So plan and remain effective, remain efficient. Your schedule is efficient, you need to be organized, and the very important ring, which is called prioritizing your tasks. If you prioritize your task effectively, then you can achieve your task easily, and your work would be very much easy for you to go with it. When your tasks are prioritized, they are organized, they are completed in time, you will be feel relaxed, you will be having some you will having less stressed, and you are more disciplined, and you can you can have a time available for everybody. While we were in the planning phase of this time management, the focal person has contacted me and asked me, sir, this is the time available for you, whether this time is available for you for conduct this training. I said, okay, this time is available. She asked me that, can we put it 30 minutes later? I can, yes, we can put it 30 minutes later. But somehow when we have organized this event, eventually something comes up and we are not able to conduct this training. So while going to from this part to jumping to the another date and rearranging this event, so we have again entered into a time management slot, time management plan. So we have planned it accordingly, and we have organized it in a efficient way. Then the participants and the people who are listening to us, who are available here, who are working on the back side, where they are not visible to us, they are also the part of this event. Those people are more effective, they are more disciplined, they are more conscious towards organizing these events. So those are the people who are actually working on the backside of this event. So they are very much disciplined, so that's why they can put their schedules very efficiently. They can prioritize these tasks, they know how to manage one event with the other event, to the third, to the fourth, to the seventh, to the sixth. And then they have their own, if you see that they have their own life, their own working agendas, working schedules, they are managing those things as well. If we are looking on the one side, one event, you can say that is very easy to organize, but it's not like that. If you have 100 or 200 events lined up, and you have to get the resource person available, you need to take the availability of the person as well. So if you are managing those time effectively, then you can have time for not only for yourself, but for the people who are here. So while you are working, while you are attending this training, while you are watching this video, you must be having some time management skill. That's why you are able to pull out some time for this training, this workshop, and this video. So let's move on. Who can use a time management? Time management has become crucial for everybody because we are thinking that over the world is going fast and we are not able to achieve much more activities that the people and the forefathers used to have. The 24 hours of the day remains the same. It's not more or less different. They are exactly the same time they have, the same time we have. The time management is becoming crucial for everybody in that today's modern busy world because of technology and the fast-paced lifestyle that we have adopted. We can we have to communicate with the people internationally. We have to communicate with the people in our street, in our office, in our social circle. So the technology has put everything in many folds of you can say in a social setup that we are not able to manage our time. So that's why we need to use our time effectively. If we are not able to use our time effectively, then we can be trapped in the problem that Dave used to have. And I'll briefly give you an idea how you can manage your time. So let's move on to the time management, how and why this time management is important, and who are those people who are using this time management: the business leaders, the politicians, the executives, students, teachers, laborers, writers, working professionals, homemakers, actors, freelancers, consultants. Everybody use the time management. So moving on to the need of time management. Next slide. Each and every individual needs time management because the time is essence for everyone, whether you are professional, daily wage laborers, or anyone. As I mentioned before, every person has 24 hours, like as I mentioned, and we have numerous tasks and a long list of tasks that every person needs to perform on the daily basis. It's routine work, it's a new project, it's a traveling, or it's something else, anything. You need to attend a wedding ceremony, or you go to some funeral activity. These are the activities that you need to perform on the daily basis, and you need to adjust them in the 24 hours daily real clock. So how you manage and how you need to do is absolutely depending on you. And one thing more, that if you have the energy available to do those tasks, then you can remain motivated and you can use your skills and your capabilities effectively. Your decision making skill is completely based upon your health of your mind, your ability to understand the circumstances, the knowledge you have is it's totally, the decision is totally depending on the available information, available resources you have. So therefore the individual energy for motivation to use the resources is very much important. So one of them is time. So if you have time available, then you can manage it very well and effectively. Sorry. Let's go to the need of time management. The time management will help you to set up your goals and to achieve them and to plan yourself effectively. It will give you design and defined, organized, structured of your days and your weeks and your months to your years, and it will give you a sense of enjoyment that you have rapidly taking actions on the opportunities or the crisis that you are going to face, and it will help you also to fulfill all the activities that you are planned. Further, the time management is absolutely saving your time. And how will you save the time? And I'll brief you in coming slides. Moving on to the next slide, the need of time management will help you in optimizing your time. Next slide. Optimizing your time and to achieve your personal and professional goals. It will also help you to perform the task as per your plan and your thoughtful activities that you have actually decided to how to work with them. And it will also not only to make you a hard worker, but it will also make you a smart worker. And remember, in this changing world, hard work is somehow important, but the smart work has more importance. That will help you out in achieving more in the 24 hours that everybody has. It will make you also proactive, and once you achieve something from your list of your priorities, that will give you a sense of confidence and a sense of accomplishment, which is very important while you are using while you have a need of time management. So let's see what are the benefits the time management will give us. Next slide. the, that will improve your productivity. The productivity of the time is very important, and it will give you an idea that you need to have less stress, and it will improve your self-esteem, and it will give you a good work balance in your life. And uh, somehow, while working in the organization, if you have a tricky boss, um, they give you they will be throwing tons of workload on you, and that will create a panic. If you go to the next slide, that will help to see the people of the benefits of the time. So it will help you out in not only in prevention of the panic that has been created when there is a urgent meeting calls in by the CEO of the organization, or while working as a executive, you see many things who have been come up on 11th hour, and you are not able to cope up with those things because your hands is already full of the activities that you are already performing. So while using a better time management, you will be able to face the incoming challenges very easily and very effectively, and that will also prevent you to panic for the less availability of the time and the workload that you already have. While working in an organization, I used to manage 4 or 5 units of the department, 4 or 5 units of one department. um, how can I do that? Because I used to manage those all activities in a timely order. I put all the tasks in one box and do not get into the burden into the other box while working with those activities. So if you manage your workload effectively, it will help you in preventing yourself in the panic times. Moving on to the more benefits, it will give you a sense of confidence in fulfilling the task. As I mentioned before, that when you achieve something in that priority list of your assignments, if whether it's a degree program, it's a job offer, it's you are moving to next level of your languages or education, whatever it is, it will give you a sense of confidence that you have achieved more tasks, and it will help you in understanding that your goals are achievable, and it's quite easy while having a better time management in your hands. When you start achieving those things, that will help you in understanding that your efficiency can be increased. If you are thinking that you are giving 100% right now, while working on the time management, you achieve something else from the list of activities that you already have. That will give you an idea that you can achieve more by fulfilling the time task effectively, and it will give you a greater achievement, success, and dreams and the visions you have. And sorry, um, I'll give you an example in the end of our one of the real living legend in our life we have, and we'll see how he is actually managing his task, his times. These are the benefit of the time management. Let's go for the elements of the time management, and I'll not take much time on that. Number one, you need to be aware of your time, how much time you have. If you remains in the factor of not deciding whether you have assignment of 5 days or 10 days or 15 days, you are not able to aware of your skills and your capability to develop a better schedule and realistic schedule, you are not able to achieve the real sense of the time management. If you need to develop a sense of your real time management, you should be aware that how much time you will require to perform one task, and that will help not only to complete your task within the time, will give you the sense of achievement and the success rate 100% with 100% guarantee. So you need to be aware of the time wasters, who are the people who used to come up and talk about their dresses, their cricket match or something there, which is not productive at all. While you are working at work, you have a call from a person who is retired from his job, and he's a time waster for you. So instead of taking the call for that person, you are wasting the time, important time, and a very crucial and important work assignment on stake, while talking to the gentleman who don't have any assignment with him. And so therefore you need to go for a self management, how to manage yourself. That is also one of the important factor. The self management will come with a factor that while you are working on the priorities of yours, that will give you a judgment of when to get up, when to have your breakfast, when to work out, when to meet someone, when to socialize. These are the effective elements for the time management that will give you a self management, making yourself a very disciplined person in the life. When you are disciplined, you can achieve more. That will help you to manage your resources, personal resources, effectively. Whether it's about time, it's about your car, your favorite place of destination you want to visit, your financial management, anything, the available resources that you have, it will help you in managing those events very easily and very effectively. For example, let's say you decided to go for Shimla or any hilly area. In those days where the tourist activities are at the highest peak, you will see an demand of if cost, they were not cost effective, and there are less the hotels are less available, and there could be a shortage of food at that moment. That's the possibility that I'm asking or saying right now, but it's not obviously 100% that these problems could be arise. But when you manage your times and resources according to the your requirements, you can manage it very well. So it will also help in placing your goals and activities in a very effective way. So if you decided to achieve something which seems to be unachievable and seems impossible for you, by working on your time management, you can achieve your goals as well. So the important factor which everyone in the life is looking for is planning. If you plan well, then you can organize, you can perform well. It's a common saying that if you are fail to plan, then you are actually planning to fail. So if you have time, then you can plan well. So looking forward, some principles of the time management on the next slide. You need to develop a habit of eliminating at least one time waster from your life from every week. So this is the very first thing that you will see in your life, that there are some time wasters in your life which is available for you. Let's say, for example, you are watching uh, drama serial which you like very much. Instead of watching your drama on your television, you can watch it on YouTube. Instead of wasting your time for the same available time units with the advertisement of televisions and something else, You can watch it online, and you can reduce the length of your drama. And while having it's normally the routine now, the people are watching the videos in a fast track mode, and they can save your time. You can enjoy your drama as well, but you can eliminate the factors of wasting your time. So reserve a large blocks of time for the important activities. That's how your time management will comes in. So if you are wasting your time out of 24 hours, you are wasting 10 hours in watching dramas and movies, it will be not effective at all. So the large blocks of the time goes to the important activity that you have. So the planning, as I mentioned before, is very important. If you want to plan your daily activities, list all those activities before entering into that day. That means you need to decide what you will going to accomplish tomorrow. So you need to first list them, you need to prioritize them, you need to see what kind of activities that you have. Develop a habit of writing things, whether you can write in on your mobile. There is a list called to do list. We'll go into the details as well. So these are the principles of the time management. You need to have a great clarity of your objectives. So let's move into the time management for the organization. These since this is a very vibrant topic, and everyone needs to understand the time requirement of time management, not only for the individual and for the organization as well. So looking on the next slide, we'll see the how we can use the time management for the organization. Please, next slide. That will improve the productivity. This is the productivity is not related to the organization, but it's also for the personal level. If you are good in achieving your goals and assignments, the management and the people who are working above you will understand that this gentleman is remains a productive for the organization, and that will increase your performance. Not only your performance, but the delivery to the customers, and it will give goodwill to the organization. So time management will also bring improve productivity, better performance, and it will increase profitability, because the people who have invested in you are looking for a better cost effective plans, a good customer support, goodwill of the organization in the community. So that will also help you in planning and controlling the organizational resources. It will also reduce the stress of the organization while working with the different challenges and the crisis before they are coming into. So let's go into the detail how we can manage over time. So theoretically we have talked about many things. Let's enter into the practical thing, that how we can manage over time effectively. So next slide. There are 3 steps that we need to understand, and we need to develop for our effective time management. So step number 1 is to set your goals, and as I mentioned before, that you need to be aware of your time management. So if you know what is exactly your skills, your capacity to develop those activities, you can set up a right goal in the right direction that will help you in making yourself. While in interviews, you have heard about a similar kind of question, that where you see yourself in 5 years. This is a very normal question that everybody is looking, every HR is asking you. What exactly the answer of that question is? That the answer of that question is basically where you are planning to go. What are your goals of life? Whether the goals are achievable or not, whether this person has an ability to understand that will he go for a right direction, and he has a clarity of his vision and mission about his life. So while having a effective time management, you can set up your goals and you can develop a schedule for that. Let's say, for example, I say that I want to go for my postdoc or my PhD program from outside. then I must have to undertake many steps that are involved in it. But it could be IELTS examination, it could be GRE test, it could be application to the university, it could be the scholarship deadlines that I need to met before applying to the university. So these are the few goals that that I have developed. My one goal is to achieve a PhD degree from international university. So I need to get myself prepared for that. So we need to develop a schedule for that. And while working on it, we need to revisit and revise our plans accordingly. So let's see into the detail how we can set our goals. Next slide. The first step towards managing your time is to set the goals. If you don't have a goal, you don't have any idea where is your directions are, you are not able to manage your time. The first thing that you need to in setting up effectively your time management, you need to set a goal that where you want to go. So while setting up goals, you should always keep in mind that you need to set a goal which are specific and concrete, which are actually your desires. If you don't have interest in those goals in that particular area, for example, let's say I want to do my PhD in management sciences, but somehow my family who is financing me, they are pushing me towards achieving a degree in let's say in IT or telecommunication. So since my interests are not compatible with those goals, I will be less inclined toward achieving that set goal for me. So design or set a goal which is appropriate, which is a long term, that also has a support of your short term goals, and that will help you in achieving your goals. For example, you have a short of money and your family is saying that you will go for your higher education in IT or communication. Instead of fighting with them, you need to develop your skill to get yourself financed and to take your interest in consideration, your your goal in front of you, so you can achieve it accordingly in time, as compared to the if someone else is barging in your life for a deadline or a goal which other way around you will gonna lose them. So since you don't have an interest in that, so the first step is the very first and important step is to set up your goals of life. Moving on to the second step, which is developing a schedule. So the schedule is it's very easy to develop a schedule by questioning yourself with the different various questions, which is highlighted in the next slide. Please move on to the next slide. So the second step is to give consideration, and you need to developing a schedule. Therefore, you need to ask some questions from yourself that how to accomplish yourself. Please move to the next slide. What are the goals, and how do I achieve them? How do I accomplish them? What is the approach that I need to adopt to reach those goals? As I mentioned, you want to do a degree in management, you are short of finance, so you need to understand that how you can earn that much amount so you can finance yourself according to your interest to achieve those goals. So these are the what is the accomplishment of your goal, what is the step and the approaches that you need to understand, and you'll go for this while adopting these goals. The tasks are important than others, whether you decided that your interest is more important as compared to the finances or the other tasks. So how much time that the task is required, the time of the day which is very best fitted to do the activity. For example, you are preparing yourself for an examination, and you are not able to remember those things in time. So you need to find out what is the best time to do such activity. And as I mentioned before, that you need to put a very flexible schedule so that you can perform unexpected tasks and unexpected upcoming things which you have not perceived, which we called some risks. To mitigate those risks, you need a schedule, a proper schedule. So this is the step number 2. And after developing a step, the following steps, the steps which you are required to plan a schedule is, please move to the next slide, is to prioritize your task. Number 1, you need to develop what exactly the goals are, what are the short steps that you are looking for. You need to prioritize your task. Move to the next slide, please. And after you set up your priorities, you need to plan according to the into the calendar. It's not like that you just prioritize your things and you are not able to plan them according to the proper schedule. So you need to put a realistic timeline in the calendar so that you can achieve them thoroughly by step. For example, if you have a task to do which takes 2 weeks of your time, but unrealistically you put them in the 5 days, it's not going to happen. Some tasks which requires time will take time. You need to develop a realistic schedule of your activities. So by looking at the task you need to accomplish, and you need to block all the task times and the milestones in your daily task list. We will look into some, I'll tell you the names of some softwares that will help you out in blocking down your activities. And you can also add some leisure time in it, and time for those who's time wasters, which they claim you are not giving time to them into the social life while when you have meet to them. So therefore you need to block all the times that you need in your time management, and you should highlight all the milestones that you achieve. So that is a very important aspect of while doing developing a schedule. Developing a milestone, the milestone is basically help you in prioritizing that your direction is right, and you are how much time you are behind the main target or the main goal. So developing a milestone with a proper timeline will help you in achieving those big ideas, big goals which you think is impossible to achieve. That will help you out, that can be catered down while developing a schedule. So moving on to the next slide, that will help you, that will give you an idea to revisit your plan and your activity. So how you revisit your plan? Move on to the next slide. Are you making the progress? That is the first question that you'll ask to yourself. Next slide, please. You are making the progress in the right direction? That is the first question. So while developing a milestone, you can ask yourself about a progress that you will going to made within the time frame that you have decided. For example, I have decided to achieve my admission in PhD in Canada, let's say. So I have developed a few milestones that my documents should be attested from the local body, and I need to get equivalence from the World Education Services. So I have developed a timeline and a time schedule for that. That's a milestone for myself. If I don't achieve my documents attested or verified from the local body or local organizations, then I'm not able to send my documents in time to the World Education Services. If I'm not able to achieve that milestone in time, then my schedule for admission will get delayed. So therefore, the milestone will give you an idea that are you making the right progress in the right direction. So check whether against the schedule you identified, you are able to move it successfully or not. And again, the schedule you identified, if you are not able to do the task in time, then what is the remedy? Where is the cushion of your time that you have entered in it while planning phase? Because the risk factors are there. Let's say I have to go to my intermediate result card to be attested from a board. In those days, there are strikes in the board. So while planning, I need to understand that there could be possible reason that some possible challenge that come into my mind, that come into my plan. So therefore, you need to revise your plan according to the possible challenges. So therefore, we have add some cushion. We have used to add some time frame for to mitigate our risks and to see whether these tasks can be achievable or not. So against your schedule, you need to identify whether your tasks are able to be completed in time or not. Next is to your energy level. While working in a tough life daily routine, you are able to have the required energy level to complete your task that you have planning to complete, and how much stress that will bring to while working on those ideas and the goals that you will be having that. um, if I plan to climb up to Himalayas, I need to develop a habit of while while entering into that goal, I need to work out my physical activity so that I can be very much physically fit to go for that challenge that I have developed in my goal list. So what is the common time waster that you are facing? These are the things that must be included in your plans. If you are not able to add in your plan, then be able to complete. So procrastination is a phenomena that we used to have in our life. So moving on to the components of time management. I'm sorry. There are future crucial components that we are looking for the time management. We are actually, so as I mentioned, that we'll having a very debatable thing that why we are how we can achieve our time to be managed in a right way. So the components of time management are includes planning, organizing, delegating, and how to manage the interrupts, the scheduling of our task, and the prioritizing. So let's look at each activity in detail. Moving on to the planning. Next slide. For effective planning, it's important to know that there's a difference between urgent and important. There are few things that we used to mix up in our mind, that is this task is very urgent, I need to complete it right now, and this task is very important, I need to complete it right now. That's not true. We are not able to plan effectively, therefore we are having some problems in our daily schedule, that this task is very important and this task is very urgent and immediately have to be done. Let me give you a difference between them. So urgent tasks are the tasks that you assume needs an immediate attention and that demands your immediate action on it. Those tasks are urgent tasks. If you, anyhow, all the tasks are important. It's up to you that how you mark them important in your life. The task someone has very important in his life could be a very casual thing for the others. So the definition for the importance of the task is different from one person to the different for the other person. So every important task become an urgent task if you don't give them priority, if you don't complete them in time. So that while planning, we are actually managing our important assignments, and how we will manage those assignments, I'll brief you in a while we are working on important and urgent metrics. We put our argument from this part. next we'll go to planning. Next is the step we are looking after planning. We'll go for the organizing, how we organize the time. Organizing is a very important factor of the time management. You are very much organized if you prepare your task more quickly and diligently. If you don't look for the time wasters, if you don't put the things who are misplacing your task, your time, just like in the case of Dave. If he don't have a messy desk, he would be able to find the Maxwell project file for the client presentation, and he if he has a time for the client presentation, and he can do his task very effectively, very immediately for the next task of his boss, which is the progress report. So every task in the life is interlinked with the other task. So how we are organized, how much we are organized, is basically how much the plan, how much time we have prepared. We have how much the important component of time we have given the priorities, and how quickly we are completing those tasks. So this is the management factor. So how we actually organize over time. There are 3 steps to organizing over time. Let's go into the detail in the next slide. These are called set goals, and to prioritize, and to form a good habit of making those time, to organize those times. Let's go into the detail of delegating the power. Delegating, what is actually the delegating? While working as a professional, while working as a student, you need to delegate those some few things that you need, that you think that other person can attempt easily. Moving on to the next slide, please. This is delegating. So the act of delegating, or investing with the authority to act for another. Let's say that management has decided to give me an assignment which I can delegate to my subordinates, and I can understand that those assignments can be done by these people. But remember, the delegating concept is only effective when you are working as a supervisor on them, and you understand that the responsibility of that and the accountability of that particular task will remain with you. And this will not help in grooming your team, but it also help in um, helping the other person to help you in managing those tasks. That delegating means that someone else is basically tasked to perform your responsibilities that you are being paid for. So this is a very important factor for those people who are working in the organization, and who are not able to complete their assignments. For example, in a Dave example, if he has the client presentation, he can delegate that assignment to his subordinates, but the responsibility and the accountability shall remains with him. So he needs to he can guide his team that what are the requirements of the client. They can develop a presentation for him, and he can review the presentation and make the changes accordingly as he requires. So that's the way he can save his time, and he can manage other life activities. So delegating is very important, and that can be that has 3 factors in it, which is reflected in the next slide. One is called authority, responsibility, and accountability. So the authority is vested in you, and you are authorizing next person, subordinate, to do the task on your behalf. Please move to the next slide. This is the authority that you are giving to the someone, and the authority will come with 2 other things, which is called responsibility and the accountability. If the assignment that you are going to delegate to the person, you need to understand that this person is enough responsible to act on your behalf. Otherwise, the responsibility of that particular task will remain on you, and the consequences, if the result goes bad, will fall upon you, and you shall be held accountable for that. So while delegating the assignment to secure your time, you need to realize that the person should be responsible, and you can make him accountable, and he realize what is the meaning of accountability with him. So that's how you can manage your time. So let's move to the next slide, where we can see the different types of interruptions in our life that everybody, while you are working in a social, or while working in a house, you can see those things jumping in your life. While you are working in your kitchen, you are having a phone ringing for your friend who has no task to do in her life, or while you are working on job, there are some people who have an habit of over socializing about different things, and they don't have any other assignment to do. So while, since you have the responsibility of having 3 or 4 departments under you, and those people who are working, who are not even working their own assigned jobs, and they have delegated those jobs to their subordinates to do those things. So I have listed some types of interruptions, which can be more or less completing all the kind of interruptions we daily used to have in our life. Some culprits that we you call them the interruptions is over socializing on the job, which includes unnecessary meetings which take a lot of time while deciding a pointless agenda, and making some people less attentive, lose towards their focus on their goals, and pointless agendas of the meeting is always remain at unattainable goals, which are being decided um, in those time frames, which is quite impossible. Since those unattainable or non-tangible goals have been decided, that ends into a disaster in the later time. The second thing is the telephone interruption that everybody is having, whether you are a student, or you are a housewife, or you are a professional or teacher or researcher, anyone you are facing the telephone interruption. That what kind of interruption it is? That is an ineffective prioritized kind of activity. Whether you are working on a research project and you are focused on one thing, and suddenly your telephone start ringing, that is a telephone interruption that will lose all your focus on the activity that you are actually working on. So telephone interruptions are basically a way to distract your attention, distract yourself in to go into a mode of non into a quadrant of non productivity. So junk emails, which might make you to realize that your important email that you need to reply will go with them. So these are the interruptions everyone used to face in the life. Poorly run meetings. You entered into a meeting which has been not planned well, and a lot of discussion and undue deliberation starts on it and consumes all your day for those meetings. Drop in visitors. Unknown visitors come into your workplace and will make your uh, decided time, your goal of the day, disturb very much. There are some extended lunch breaks, which will go to the undebatable, unkind of unnecessary discussions, which delays your plan of your activities. Procrastination is also one of the key factor, which make you ineffective, and which increase your waitings or delays. So how we manage those interrupts. Let's go to the next slide. The following are some methods that you can manage different kinds of interrupts. So just list them. I'll not go into the details. We don't have that much time to discuss in it. It's a very delicate and a different topic we need to discuss in a later training program, inshallah. Managing workplace, how to manage your documents, how to manage your drop visitors, and how to manage your telephones. The last thing is very important because now we have multiple forums, multiple applications that will interrupts while you are in fact I'm giving this presentation. I have to drop many calls which are barging on my cell phone as well. So you need to manage the telephone, which is the important factor. So I used to conduct a separate training on this, how to manage your interrupts, not only in your life, that also consumes the time. So which is the main factor of our thing. So next thing, which is very important, that is how to the tools for the time management. The list is given on the next slide. We'll go to the detail of everything in the subsequent slide. Move to the next slide, please. There are 5 tools that I have mentioned. There are many more tools you can use in your life. One is planners, the calendars, the to-do list, activity logs, and the diary. The diary is something which is very important, and I recommend everybody to have to develop a habit to write the assignments in your notebook or a handy diary. You must keep it with you. So these are the 5 tools that you can develop. The planner is the first, a very useful and a very powerful tool to design your activities, not only in effective way in days, in the months, or in the weeks. So you can say in a very good effective way. Move to the next slide, please. That will help you in understanding the whole month calendar in your idea, that whether you need to note down the important meetings, deadlines, project milestones, client meetings, where the day was having a shortfall. So he is not able to manage those things. He is not able to write those important factors in the planner that he must have to use those this planner thing in his desk, in his cell phone, in his at his home. So he must realize, and he should be remembering those activity which is included in his planner, which is parent teachers meeting that he forget to attend on a very specific day. So these are the things that he used to write on the note. He made notes of those important meetings and the deadlines and the project milestones. So whenever you commit any due date or any social event, you need to always enter the same into the planner at once. So if you add those factors in your planner, you can be having a very manageable time. So move on to the next thing, which is calendar. The calendar is a powerful tool, which could be a electronic calendar. You can be a paper calendar. Next slide, please. So you can use a calendar to record your meetings, your appointments, your overdues for a month. So basically, the calendar is a tool which is handling your important assignments that I earlier mentioned, that your important assignment becomes an urgent assignment. So if you write those things in the calendar, you can be actually looking for a tool which is actually managing your important assignments to not enter into the urgent quadrant of your life. So the urgent quadrant is basically those assignments which actually drain out your important activities. Let's say at your home, you need to deposit a monthly bill of your electricity. There is a due date for that particular bill, and if you don't submit it, you put it in your calendar, you don't mention it that on this specific date you will submit your bill of electricity. that assignment will become an urgent assignment on a due date. So the important assignment becomes an urgent assignment when you are not put those important assignments into your calendar. For the person who's handling multiple responsibilities and having a workload of tasks of the same time, he should be using an annual calendar. That's a tool to utilize how to make your calendar effective. You can organize your annual calendar by the areas of responsibilities that you have. And the next tool is a very important tool, and I recommend it to many of the people, and I also use this tool to perform the task, which is called the to-do list. Move to the next slide, please. The to-do list is a greatly useful tool for someone who has a list of multiple tasks that he needs to accomplish. A to-do list always keeps a track of your assignment that you need to be completed without any help or without you want to forget those things. A to-do list task always comes with a timeline, with a milestone that will give you a reminder well in time before to start this activity. Let's say if I have this training program, this time management activity with you people, I have a to-do list task with me that I need to develop a form for this. I need to question all my audience, all my viewers right now who are looking at me, or who will look into the details of this presentation later in on YouTube channel or somewhere else. They will have I have to note down all those activities, those tasks, and how I need to organize them in a very perfect way so that those can create a link with each other. So if you see, the whole presentation is jumping towards from the understanding to effectiveness to the benefits to the tools and how they are managed right now. So we are in the phase how to manage overtime effectively while having these tools in our hands. I am very much assured of the factor that many of the people are absolutely aware of the fact that they have a to-do list task to do. No one in the world is having only one task at one time. Everyone has a multiple responsibility, multiple tasks they have to accomplish. So this list, to-do task list, will always help you in completing your assignments. You can search your to-do task list at Google Store. You can find an Android application. You can Mac application. Anything you can find it on the website. So you can put your all important assignments in with a priority list, and they can be completed in the manner that you decided, with the most important list at the top and the least important task at the bottom. And this list will also help you out in to work out as per the priorities that you have listed, to important tasks on the top and then to the lower task to the bottom. So these are the this is one of the very important tool to conduct your activity. The next is is called activity logs. The activity log is a tool that most of the people are not aware of what actually is their activity log. So the activity log is basically a way to measure your performance by yourself, which is called a self-assessment. The self-assessment will give you an idea that give you a track record of how much time that actually you have wasted in your life. And generally the people don't have the habit of keeping track of what they have done in one day, and they don't keep the track, and they remain unaware of the amount of the time they have wasted in their breaks, while having an idle chit chat or checking useless emails or browsing useless websites. So the activity log is a very vital tool that will help you out to track record of your time, that how much time that you have wasted uh, I'm sorry, in a particular day, and then later you realize that how much time you have spent in productivity. So this activity log will help you in analyzing your daily activity, and to give you an idea that after few days or week or a month, you can see how much time you have wasted instead of remain productive. So one of the factor that I have objective that I have mentioned earlier in the start, that you are facing a problem in having an issue of 24 hours, and you are not able to accomplish those activities in time that you have decided in your life. So you need to track record of your activities that you are performing in your daily life. So managing your activities is the important factor that someone is looking in his life. So do put your activities in your activity log, and that will help you out in making realize the understanding of what you have accomplished in a particular day, and that will help you out in tracking of the most factor that you have wasted in your daily routine. So do log your activities for a couple of weeks and make a realization, make an analysis, and see how and where you are actually wasting your time. The next and the last thing, the tool that I have mentioned earlier, and it's one of the important and a very effective tool that I always refer to everybody who is, whether student, scholar, or researcher, everyone who is, to please develop an habit of writing a diary. The one of the most common and effective tools of the time management is your diary. You can use your diary as a journal to list down your daily experience, your actions, your plans, your techniques, your how to save time, how to save your resources. In fact, you can use your diary to write all the bright ideas that you have every day in your life, because the things that you have decided while having this training program, if you don't write those things in your diary, that will give you a bright idea while understanding or listening to this recording or this audio and this video. You can have some ideas that you can how to manage your time. You need to just write it on your diary. Therefore, use a diary to reflect back your day and to help yourself to save a time to plan for the future. And that's where we end up to a very, very important factor of our time management, which is called important, urgent, and important time metrics. Let's jump into our this thing, and we'll see. Move to the next slide, please. This will be a very important factor that I'm going to present you. Um, the urgent important metrics is a very, very crucial concept of time management. It's basically the real essence of the time management. So when you get over the habit of focusing on urgent activities, you can have enough time to focus on what actually the important task is. So you need to use important urgent metrics to overcome your natural habit of focusing on urgent activities, and how we develop the importance metrics. Please move on to the next slide. That is very important, and the essence of today's presentation. This slide and the next slide, these two slides are the most important part of this presentation. Please move to the next slide. The following steps are used to take next slide, please. The following steps are used to take the urgent important metrics to prioritize your activities. So remember these important factors. You need to list down all the activities and the projects that you feel you have to do. Number one, the first activity. The second is that you make sure that all the activities have a timeline, and you feel the task is unimportant, just put them into the list, but with a low rate of scaling of the important assignment. How you scale the assignments? You can use the scale of 1 to 5, you can use the scale 1 to 10, you can scale of 100 as well. So to define the importance of one activity that you are deciding to complete, you think that this is more important with the other activities, by having a complete look on the list of activities that you have developed in the step number 1. So to decide if a task is important or not is looking at it. If you understand that this assignment is important, that will help you drag into achieving to meet your goals. If that assignment is not important, that will not take you to the to meet your goals. So therefore, the importance, the scale you are using, the number you are assigning to the task is very important. If you assign importance number to that task, that assignment, which is less meeting towards your goal, that will ultimately putting you into the failure. Therefore, the next step is to determine the urgency of each activity, whether this activity is urgent or not, or the urgency. After you have assigned the importance to each activity, you need to realize that what kind of whether this activity has a goal. So whether the important thing is to understand, to go for an urgency of those activities. So the importance and the urgency are the two different things which you need to understand. The urgency is a separate scale of measurement. The importance is a separate scale of measurement. If you use both of them in a cross-sectional way, you will end up in confusing yourself, and you will not able to achieve a task that is very important for you. So therefore, the urgency of each activity, that after you have assigned the importance to every activity, so importance is separate element, urgency is a separate element. Next, as per the importance and the urgency, you should plot them into a urgent to important matrix. So therefore, you need to schedule your priorities by analyzing by these matrices, using the strategies described in each quadrant that I'm going to tell you in the next slides, which are the most important and the very important factor that we are going to understand in urgent and important matrix. So therefore, let me summarize here these tasks before we enter into our main presentation for main idea of urgent and important matrix. You need to first list down your activities. You need to make sure that all your activities have been a task assignment with them. Unimportant assignments will go into the bottom of the list. you need to scale them with the scale of 1 to 5, 1 to 10, 1 to 100, whatever the scale you are using. You need to decide and look them again that these tasks will help you in meeting your goal or not. The next is to define the urgency of each activity after you have assigned and the importance to each activity. The next is to define and to plot them into urgent and important metrics that I'm going to show you in the next slide. Let's please move to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is the urgency and important metrics. That is actually the place that we are going to put our time wasters or our things that we will manage in a perfect way, how to manage our important or urgent tasks. If you see on the most left side, there is important and not important assignments. So we have 4 quadrants: quadrant of manage, quadrant of leadership and quality, quadrant of deception, and quadrant of waste. I'll discuss every quadrant in detail. So if we look at the top of this presentation, this slide, there is an urgent and non-urgent. So therefore, we have 4 quadrants. One is important and urgent, which is called the quadrant of manage. Those tasks which are urgent and as well as important. So that will go those tasks in out of the list, out of the scale that you have decided, will come into the quadrant number 1, who are most important, who have the most urgency with them. The second is the assignments are, although they're important, but they are not urgent at the time, which means the quadrant of leadership and the quality. Remember one thing: those people who are living their life in the quadrant number 2 are the most successful people, who are actually developing their leadership, their quality of life, and themselves in improving their life. Those people who are living in the quadrant of manage are those people who are not able to manage their time. So therefore, you need to jump out of from quadrant number 1 to quadrant number 2. That means you always have the assignments which are very important, but they are not urgent at every time. So therefore, that means you have the assignment with them, with yourself, but they are important, they are not urgent. So that means you have planned your time effectively, that you have decided your assignments in a very timely and efficient manner. So those assignments are not jumping out of quadrant number 2 to the quadrant number 1, which is the quadrant of manage. Next is the assignments which are urgent, but they are not important. So we call them the quadrant of deception. If the assignment is not important, it becomes an important, becomes an urgent assignment. So this is called a quadrant of deception. So the last part where most of the people are living their life is the quadrant of waste. They are socializing their Facebook accounts, watching their useless videos, watching useless TV dramas, TV serials, which is absolutely not having any benefit for improvement of their life. So they are not important and non-urgent metrics. So this is the essence of the time management. So you need to actually put all your assignments in quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Quadrant of manage, leadership and quality, deception, and quadrant of waste. So let's look into these quadrants one by one, and we will see what are those quadrants and how we can define those quadrants. So let's move on to the quadrant number 1. Please, next slide. The quadrant of manage activities. Please, next slide. In quadrant number 1, we have crisis, we have pressing problems, we have deadlines driven projects. It could be an electricity bill, or it could be anything which could be a defective, a problematic things for us. So quadrant number 1 is basically representing those things which are both important, urgent, and hence you need to spend more time to make sure that your times and the activities that you are performing is listed in those activities. So this is where you need to produce, you need to bring your experience, your judgment in bearing and responding and many needs and challenges. Many important activities become urgent through procrastination or because quadrant one becomes the important and urgent quadrant. Therefore, you need to manage how to become your produce, your experience, your judgment in bearing and responding to many needs and challenges. So the factor that we are referring is the important assignment becomes an urgent assignment. How that important assignment jump into the urgent assignment? It will becomes an urgent assignment when you start procrastinating things. If you start procrastination and you start daydreaming about the assignments that you are actually uh, planned to do, but you are not able to complete them in the time frame that you have. So you actually start procrastination about those things. You don't have enough prevention or the planning time to do those activities, and those activities will jump actually from non-urgent quadrant number 2 to quadrant number 1. That therefore they becomes a crisis for you. They becomes a pressing problem for you. That becomes a deadline driven projects which were important, although important, but were not in the urgent quadrant, were in quadrant number 2, which is called the quadrant of leadership and quality, will jump up into the quadrant number 1 when you start procrastination. When you start thinking, when you start daydreaming about those things, that will jump out from quadrant number 2 to quadrant number 1, which is very important factor that we need to understand, that those activities who are deadline driven and having pressing problems and becomes a crisis for the organization, for ourselves, we need to put them into an urgent and into an important matrix, and we need to throw those activities from urgent matrix to the quadrant number 2, which is leadership and quality matrix, the quadrant. So let's not our activities jump from non-urgent matrix to the urgent matrix. If they become into the urgent matrix, that will becomes a stress for you. Not only for the work stress, it becomes a stress for your personal life, for your loved ones who are around you, for your friends, for your boss, everyone, because you are actually putting those deadline driven projects into the challenging phase where they start become a problem for yourself and for the family. If we look into over the example that I have gave you about Dave Gotham, he is actually put his organization into the jeopardy by not preparing his presentation for the client. Now the organization is presenting themselves to the client, and a non-urgent important assignment, which could be can be done in a very cool and calm way, in a very relaxed environment. He put without because of his non-time management, he put all that particular assignment presentation to the client, to an urgent assignment, to an important assignment. So therefore the quadrant of non-urgent becomes a very urgent important and urgent assignment. So therefore we need to I'm sorry, we need to put all those activities which are in quadrant number 1 to quadrant number 2. So therefore we need to manage those activities. Let's move to the quadrant number 2, which I have referred is the very is a quadrant of leadership and quality. So move on to the next slide. That will help you in understanding the quadrant of leadership. Let's move to next slide, please. Can we move to the next slide, please? Quadrant of leadership and quality. So prevention and relationship building, recognizing the new opportunity, planning and recreation. That becomes our quadrant number 2. all those activities who are deadline driven is always start from this quadrant. They are not urgent, they are important. But those important assignment becomes an urgent assignment if we don't recognize those assignments, those new opportunity as an important factor. So therefore, quadrant number 2 includes the important but not urgent. This is the quadrant of quality. You need to, you can develop your relationships here. You can develop your skills in this quadrant, because those are important assignments for you, but they are not urgent at all. So you can have a family trip with your family, with your friends, while having a planning about recreation, because recreation and planning is a very important assignment, but they are not urgent, but they are important. So therefore, you can do a long range planning, anticipation, and preventing yourself with the problems that can become into the quadrant number 1. This quadrant is not only quadrant 1 activity, but this is a quadrant 2 activity that we are in right now. Right now we are also empowering ourselves to understand that how we can manage our future activities by conducting this training program. So we are empowering ourselves, our minds, our brains, our skills to recognize one of the most important activity, which is called how to manage our time. It is the quadrant number 2 activity that we are actually performing right now. So this is called quadrant of leadership, and that ends up to a quality of life and quality of relationship, and it will prevent you from all the upcoming problems. And ignoring this quadrants is actually feeding the quadrant number 1, as I mentioned. That will create a stress, that will create a burns out, and it will create a deeper crisis, not only for yourself, for the family, and for the organization. So therefore, if you invest more time in quadrant number 2, which is the leadership quality, which is the quadrant of leadership and quality, that will shrink quadrant number 1, that will shrink quadrant number 4, quadrant number 3. So you need to maximize and you need to grow the quadrant number 2, so in order to achieve benefit in your life. So let's move to the quadrant number 3. What is quadrant number 3? Next slide, please. Quadrant number 3 is quadrant of deception. What are these deceptions? How how we can say these are? How we can say this is a deception? Because we think those are urgent, but absolutely not important. While I'm working on an assignment on a project, preparing a presentation for my client, one of my colleague from the finance department calls me and say, "Hey, buddy, do you know this thing is happening, which has no relation to me?" But I am thinking that can be an urgent thing for me. But since it is not related to me, how it can be an important and urgent factor for me? This is called an illusion. This creates an illusion, which is becomes a deception for me. That's why we recognize this quadrant as quadrant of deception. You have many people who have here to interrupt you while you are working in the activity. There is a factor of proximate, and there are pressing matters that are two separate activities that is actually consuming your major assignments, major task to do an assignment. So sorry, major time So therefore, if we move on to the quadrant of 4, which is the quadrant of waste. Quadrant of waste is basically not urgent, not important activity. So basically, everyone used to jump into the quadrant number 4. If we jump to the next slide, please, everyone can see it. Quadrant number 4 is basically the quadrant of escape. Everyone like us used to jump into that activity. Next slide, please. The quadrant of waste. This is called the escape quadrant. The busy work, some mails or calls or time wasters or pleasant activities. It's absolutely not. We are going to gossip about a cricket match which have been happened 10 years before, which has no use at all. We are going to addict to the novels and watching the mindless television shows and the talk shows and gossiping about anything which has absolutely no result. It is non-urgent, not urgent, non-important activity, which is absolutely a waste of your time. Moving on to the um, quadrant, how to increase our quadrant number 2. Let's move on to the next slide. Quadrant 1 is the quadrant of necessity because they are deadline driven and crisis projects and resolving the immediate problems. Move on to non-urgent projects that can be problem preventing events, relationship building, finding your life partners, building your dreams, your careers, your personal development. Improvement of your health is also a non-urgent activity, but it is important. Although you need to go to the gym, but it is non-urgent activity. Somehow you can miss those days, but similarly it is important to increase your health. And if we go to the quadrant of deception, that is interruptions, useless calls, cell phones, emails, meetings, pointless debates about anything, pressing about matters, proximities, anything. And the last is the quadrant of the waste, which is time wasters, surfing of television, scrolling down social media, um, watching pictures, watching movies, etc. It's absolutely a time waste. So while working on the relationship and the stress management and the time stress relationship between stress and time management, it's basically a complete topic, but somehow we'll look into something into the details. Move on to 2 slides, please. Move 2 slides forward. 2 slides. There is a relationship between stress and time management. Go on. Next. Next. So although we have not apparently most of the people at the first, however, there is an important relationship between the stress and the time management. Most of the time, everyone has some time, or other one is feeling frustrated, pressurized, or overwhelmed with a large number of tasks and commitments they need to fulfill. So they were actually pissed off. And what we are actually are doing is, while they are having a stress and poorly time managed activities they have been going through, we make a call to them, and that will pressurize our relationship with that person. So therefore it is very obvious that pressures and overloads on the individual cause stress, and the stress is basically coming from the poor time management. If you are managing your time effectively, I can guarantee you those overloaded tasks will go away, and your stress that you are facing in your daily life, that how can I forget this thing, and how this things become so stressful in the life. And that this stress is not only coming to your personal life, but also into your kids life as well. When you come home with the mind full of stress, with the assignments in your head, and the task which you don't have performed very well in time, and your boss or someone has yelled upon you because of poor time management, or the insult they have faced with the client or someone else, whatever the could be the reason, the stress is over you, and this stress can only go with the proper time management. Therefore, the best way to avoid the stress is effective time management. So next slide, please. When you start practicing your effective time management, you will learn to use the methods and techniques, and that will actually help you in managing and identifying those activities that are more productive and yield into a maximum returns for you. And I can guarantee you that you will, in the manner you practice your time and the methods and technique, you will save time. You will have a time available within the 24-hour clock, and you will learn to work out smartly and not without the hard work you have save times, and overburdened and overloaded completing many tasks in a short period of time will go away. And next slide, please. And you will also find time to leisure yourself in a relaxed manner. So use your energy effectively, and you need to let's move to the understanding of a biological clock. Please move to the next slides to understanding the biological clocks. The biological clock is basically a clock that is a clock of your body. Next slide, next slide. Move to the biological clock. That is next slide. That will give you variance of energy levels of the people. And biological clocks is known as circadian rhythm or the body clocks. The circadian rhythms and the internal biological clocks are regulated many functions and activities, which includes the sleep of your time, the temperature, the metabolism, the alertness, the body pressure, the heart rate, the hormone levels, immunities, your stress level, your affection, your focus is also included in your biological clock. Everyone has a different clock. If you are a night bug and you wake up late in the morning, and believe me, you are not able to learn those things when you wake up early in the morning. So you need to understand this biological clock by making different practices available on internet. You can go for your available internet biological clock test. You can put your details in it about your gender, your age, your sleep time, your interaction behavior with your friends, your people around you. That will give you a better idea that which time is best for you to remember those things, which time is suitable for you to go for physical activity, which is good for your metabolism. For females, it is how they can manage their hormone levels and the immunity levels. This is also included in your biological clock. It is a natural phenomena that has been given to everybody, and everybody is different from everyone. So instead of comparing ourselves with a different person, that this girl can perform better assignment than me, or this gentleman is more productive than me, don't look at them. The life you are living is your life. You have your own biological clock. You have your own talent. You have your own brilliance. And the main thing is your thumb. Your thumb prints are different from everyone available in the world. So when this thumbprint is different, your talent is different. When your talent is different, remember the fact that you can maximize your efficiency by working out your biological clock, your body cycles, and not to use against them. If your body is you feel to sleep in the late hours, don't fight it off immediately. If you want to move your to change your natural rhythm, you need to make a habit of taking a sleep in a early time frame, and then you can wake up early in the morning. So don't start becoming the things in the very start. So there is a few period of time when the brain functions are very much efficient. These periods have been described for a morning person. And keep in mind, if you are a night owl, do not live these times in 3 to 4 hours per day. So let's move on to a multitasking activity. So I think we must have some multitaskers with us. So those people who are thinking who are multitaskers are wrong here. So multitasking is not a good thing to do. However, I'll give you a link of the presentation of the video at the end. The people who generally believe that the multitasking are do several tasks at once, you can actually save time, you are doing more time, more work in the same time. It's just a myth. In the reality, your multitasking, you tends to spend your energy and concentration and focus. The very important thing, your focus on several things at once. And you want, when you try to do those things, that will end up in a not effective way. So hence, when you try to do all the things together, you tends to put them in the list of the 100% to each task, and that will produce a low quality of work. Therefore, it is evident that a good time management practice would be avoid multitasking. You should develop a habit of finishing one task before moving into another, and a habit of multitasking will create more. If you remove this, getting over the habit of multitasking, you will become more productive, more efficient, and your quality of work is important. Let's move on to how to avoid this multitasking. Move on to the slide where we can I have mentioned the tips to avoid the multitasking. Move on to the next slide. Next, please. Next. Keep going to the multitasking slides. Avoid multitasking slides. Next slide. Here we have I have mentioned few tips that you can avoid your multitasking, that your thoughts you are feeling and wandering from your current work. Stop thinking about the next activity that you are performing. Think about the activity that you are performing currently. So do the task that you are performing right now with your full 100% focus. Manage your interrupts. Do not take absurd calls. Do not try to scroll between Facebook or YouTube or any other channel while you are working on your presentation. Give your 100% onto the assignment that you are doing. So if you have a call, important call, let them know that you are busy, call them back. Give 100% to the task that you are doing. So improve your concentration and focus properly on one task. If you do multiple tasks, that will ends up in not giving you 100% of what you are working on. So resist about jumping from one task to other, one to second to first. That will not help you out. While working on one assignment, stop taking the habit to check your emails again and again. When you get off with your assignment, check the email at one time, reply those emails at the same time. Stop as soon as you stop your multitasking, you can plan your day in a very effective way. So few time wasters are mentioned in the next slides, so you can take a look on those slides. Please move to the next slide. Time wasters are meeting without agenda. You are fearing about delegating the things. You are not clear about your deadlines. No passion to work. Shifting your priorities. Tired of concentration. Fear to fail. A failure of success, and inadequate success resources. These are time wasters. So you need to avoid those things. You need to stop going into the agenda meetings which don't have any agenda. Stop fearing yourself of delegating. Delegate the things with a clear assignment, clear authority, clear responsibility, and ask them that you will going to make them accountable for the assignment that you are going. Give them a clear deadline so that everyone has to know that they have a task to complete in a right time. The action remain in the quadrant number 2. Instead, they become into the quadrant number 1. So these are the time wasters. So we have also highlighted the 3 challenges of time management. There are three challenges in time management. One is called procrastination. Next slide, please. Paralyzing the perfectism and incorrect objective. Move on to the next slide, please. These are three time challenges for the time management. Please, next slide. Procrastination. Procrastination is putting off the things that you should be doing at this point and start about daydreaming about those things, and paralyzing yourself in on the name of perfectism. There is no perfection in anything. There is always a room for anything, for an improvement in your task. It is a failure to recognize the difference between an excellent and a perfection. So there, nothing is perfect in this world. Everything becomes excellent, but there is a room for improvement for everything. So stop putting yourself in perfectionism, hypnosis. So setting up incorrect objectives, as I mentioned, if you are unaware of the factor that you are putting up a goal which is non-realistic, unachievable in a wrong time frame, then you are making a challenge for your time management. So therefore, avoid those setting incorrect objectives. Use smart criteria of the objectives which are specific, which are measurable, which are attainable, which are realistic, which are time bound and supported by the organization. So these are how you can set up incorrect your objectives. So to overcome these challenges, you need to stop procrastination. You need to stop paralyzing between for perfectionism. There is a difference. There is always a difference between excellence and a perfection. Excellence is achievable. It's healthy. It's satisfying. Unrealistic. Therefore, you need to stop overcoming your time management challenges. And let's move on to the tips to effective time management. Go to the next slide. Set up clear objectives and deadlines. Next slide, please. Get clear instructions and remain focused with that, and avoid interruptions and idle chit chats. Always keep an additional time, which is a cushion for your time. If this remains with you, then you can manage your time effectively. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to manage your time. So let's summarize this whole process. Time. You need to understand the tools of the time management. You understand the priority of action objective metrics. You need to manage your time, common time pitfalls, and to strategies to evaluate the understanding of metrics. So steps of managing your time management is set up your goals, develop a schedule, revisit your plans, and time management. So tools for time management, there are 5 tools that I have told you. One is planner, calendar, to-do list, activity list, and diary. So start writing diary and manage your time effectively. The strategies to evaluate urgent and important metrics. There were 4 quadrants. I have mentioned you. The quadrant number 1 is the quadrant of manage. Quadrant number 2 is leadership and quality. Quadrant 3 is the quadrant of deception. Quadrant 4 is the quadrant of waste. We need to grow over quadrant number 2, which is the quadrant of quality and leadership. We need to pick out ourselves from the quadrant of the waste, which is quadrant number 4, which always ends up in a bad thing. So congratulations, and you have successfully completed our module for time management. I'm very much sure that you must be aware of Elon Musk. That's what I am telling you in the start of my presentation. So if we have time for the presentation, yes, we have 6 minutes left. Please jump on to the last slide of this presentation. Please move on to the last slide of the presentation. There is a hyperlink. Please click on it. Last slide of the presentation. Please click on it. Last slide, next. There you go. There is a hyperlink in the blue. Please click on it and let's see a video here. This is Elon Musk, and we have an associated time management video with him for 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Can you play that? Click on the blue while you have in the slide view. Click on the blue icons. Just take it to the full slide view. Click on the blue icon. It will redirect you to the video in the browser. See, there is a video played in the browser. Go to your browser, please. Go to your browser, please. Put this presentation. Close this presentation. Anyhow, I'll give the link into the description of this video, and you can look the Elon Musk time management tips and daily schedule and routine. It's a very study based motivational video, and you will love it. Thank you very much for having time with me, and I'm very grateful to Research Circle as well, who have invited me for this excellent event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a nice presentation. If anyone has any question, you can ask. Now we have another 5 minutes. Sir, on YouTube Live, Mr. Amar was asking, sir, is there any special advice for students regarding time management in studies?
Absolutely. You need to develop a box for your time. For example, there should be a box. There should be a time frame for your sleep. For example, you need to develop an habit to sleep early in the night, because the wake up time early in the morning, your brain has a maximum capability to not only to remember the things, but also if you are weak in mathematics or calculation, the brain will tends you to learn those skills very effectively. So in the morning time, whether you are a late owl or anything you are facing with, try to develop an habit to sleep early in the night. Number one. Number two, do not make yourself interrupted. That's what exactly my message is. Do not put yourself interrupted while you are studying. If you study for 30 minutes in a whole day, just keep it the way. Just 30 minutes should be in a way there must not be any interruption, not your mobile phone, anything. Let me give you an example of my friend who was studying with me in my bachelor's program. We used to be मतलब आपको हम कह सकते हैं कि we are no sense of time management. We used to roam around anywhere we want to go, and somehow what happened, we are not able to get good grades in our bachelor's program. So anyhow, I have decided to go for my 16 years education, and my friend who have been not able to achieve the score, he was that much disappointed that he started shut down his all social networks, close everything he has, and he started focusing on the objective of high scores. So he started studying on it with full attention. I asked him that, let us meet somewhere. He gave us time when we asked him to meet. He used to go on the parties. He used to go on the events everywhere he want to go. But somehow he has managed his time to learn the things in a very focused way. So do your task while uninterruptedly in a very focused manner. You will remember those things. You will do the task in an effective way. If you are appearing in an examination, remember time management. If you are good in something, attempt those parts first. Time management is very important. Otherwise, you will repent that why I have wasted my time in attempting non-productive things. Hope that answer your question.
Okay, thank you, sir. I guess that's it for today's session. I would like to thank you all the participants present here via Research Circle, via YouTube and Facebook Live. Last but not the least, thank you so much, Mr. Sabtain Khan, sir, for taking out the time and delivering such a nice session.
Thank you.
With due the permission of today's speaker, I would like to end this session here. Thank you again.
So kind of. Thank you very much.